Sometimes you f*** up a model, maybe even a whole army, and that's okay. Today I want to share with you how I strip my miniatures. This is my Horus Heresy Night Lords army, about 75 infantry models in total. Long story short, I spent a large amount of time and multiple layers of paint and ink to get this effect on their armor. I'm honestly just not happy with how my airbrushing turned out and how long the process of basing one squad takes. I also found out that you can do this same effect with only 2 paints instead of 5. I want to strip this army and start over. I've stripped minis before and have found 2 types of paint removal, stripping them down to the primer and stripping them down completely. To strip them down to the primer, fill a sonic cleaner with simple green and load a whole squad into it. Let that run for about 10 to 20 minutes. Alternatively, you can fill a plastic container and let them soak in the simple green instead of using a sonic cleaner. This just takes a lot longer. You might need to do this anyway for larger models like vehicles. After they're done soaking, run some water over them and use a toothbrush to dislodge larger bits of paint or ink. The end result is just the primer, giving you a good starting point to try again. The best part of this process is that it can save you money on expensive primers. Note that I'm using Chaos Black Spray, which is insanely good at biting into models. I can't speak for how well this simple green process works for other primers, so run some tests first. My Night Lords need to be completely stripped though. To do this, I put on some gloves and loaded my models into some cheap soup containers and filled them with isopropyl alcohol. This needs to soak for a minimum of 24 hours to dislodge the Chaos Black primer. You might be asking, why not just pour the isopropyl into the sonic cleaner to speed this up? Do not do that. Isopropyl is extremely flammable and has a low flash point, so if you don't want to explode, do not do that. After letting my models soak thoroughly, I rinsed the heck out of them until the isopropyl smell was gone completely. You can then scrub away the primer with a toothbrush for a pretty dang clean model. For larger cleanup jobs like this one, after thoroughly rinsing each model with water, I like to fill my sonic cleaner with LA's Finest and give each squad a 20-minute clean. Once that's done, take them out of the cleaning fluid and give them one last rinse of water. After that, it looks near spotless. If you notice your model still has paint on it even after all this cleaning, give it another rinse in the sonic cleaner. It won't hurt the model. These processes are mostly safe for any material, plastic, metal, resin, though during this process I did notice one brand's resin got very brittle, while another brand's resin did not. Run a test with at least one model to make sure you don't destroy the whole army. There is something to be said about committing to a paint job, and using that as a reminder of your painting journey years from that point, but this is different. Night Lords hold a really important place in my hobby heart. They are the reason I came back to the 40k universe and this part of the hobby. If the miniature you're stripping makes you feel that way too, then you shouldn't feel bad about stripping previous efforts to try another crack at it. Until next time, subscribe and happy painting.